Brian's tools in it. Got in the hotel,
We up and going.
Yep, we're good.
boiled some water.
Good morning. Today is May 3rd, 2023. The time is now 9:01 a.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners, and I'll call this meeting to order. If you do have your cell phones, please silence them at this time. And if you would join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning and we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given to us. We thank you for the opportunity that we have to come together and to take care of the business of the county here today. We do ask that you would be with us, that you would guide us, and that you would guard us in our thoughts, our words, and our actions here today. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, did we get a roll call, Kelly?
Commissioner Day,
Here.
Commissioner Candid,
Here,
Commissioner Flower,
Present.
and Clerk to the Board, Julie Camper present.
Ed, you got that? And audience introduction, we'll start over here, Bob.
Bob Jolly with the airport. Greg Wilson, Director of Finance and HR.
And Jennifer Cree, admin to the board.
Okay, and if anyone goes to speak later, if they could identify themselves for the record, that would be greatly appreciated. I have no amendments for the agenda. Do you gentlemen?
negative here.
No, sir. Okay, we did have minutes to approve from April 27th. You did receive those.
I move we approve the minutes of April 27th, 2023 as presented.
Second. So I have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes from April 27th, 2023. Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Commissioner items, Commissioner Kanda.
I have nothing new from yesterday.
Okay. Commissioner Flower.
Thank you, sir. I do want to give an update on the status of the carpet installation in the courts. That's scheduled to be done May 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, if we need it. 29th was a holiday. But I think they would be able to knock that out in 2 or 3 days at the most, so. We need to move some electrical stuff over there, so I've reached out to an electrician to. If he can do that on the 25th, and then that'll free that deal up. Get in there and get started on the 26th. So that's way better than July. And then. I'm struggling with something. I cannot find in the minutes where we voted to authorize hiring a part-time OEM assistant. If we did, all well and good, but I could not find it. I don't know how that came about if we didn't vote to do that. I don't think it was in the budget. Was it in the budget for a part-time? So that's why we didn't formally vote on doing that. That explains
And
that.
that was why he, it was his choice to hire somebody if he ended up listening.
So, gee,
Thank you.
Originally, it was he.
I meant he, because that's who did it at the time.
well,
That's who brought it up. A lot of things were changing at that time.
and then my other question is, how and why did we post that internally? I understand she requested that. Do you know why that was?
Not particularly.
I can tell you. she called me on, she said well, that's what some practices have been in most places. If somebody had the opportunity to grow in the organization, they wanted to make it a countywide thing, that if there's a local person here to give the opportunity to have a job here in the county first. If we didn't get a qualified person, sort of like the road and bridge was, it has been. And that was the logic.
That's all I have, so.
Okay. Couple things for me. Dan Slater would like to have a list of the BOCC meetings, our schedule for the rest of the year. And would also like for us to let him know which ones we would like to have him at. And so I thought I would bring that up today. I don't think we had that in our packet yet, did we?
Will double check. I have it right here. I'm gonna make sure it's in.
If we want to discuss that today at some point. I think I could add that at the end for additional items of business rather than taking time now for that. If you gentlemen would like to
Okay,
get our
with me.
schedule shortened up.
Sure.
So I guess I would move that we do amend the agenda by adding
Okay,
BOC meeting schedule, consideration of BOCC meeting schedule that we would like our attorney to attend. And add that under additional items of business.
I'll second that. Oh, you wanted that?
Oh, we'll just
Okay.
add it to the end of the existing agenda. My mistake.
Item K.
Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor to amend the agenda by adding consideration of the BOCC meetings that we would like to see our county attorney attend. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. And I guess if by the end of the meeting, if we,
It's
by
in there
then,
now.
if we have it, okay, thank you. The other thing, I did attend the Florence Fire meeting last night. Just a little update on a couple of their items there. They had their contractor there that's working on their new station out in the Rockville area. And he is stating that that project should be completed by mid-July, July 15th. They've had some delays up to now, but that should be done mid-July. And their Station 2 out in Penrose, their crew quarters for the EMS is up and running. They're still lacking, I think, 2 crew members to add to that crew out there. So things are progressing there. Just a quick report on that. That's all I have today.
Good, thanks.
So Jennifer, do you have anything for us? Nothing today? Okay, thank you. Public comment. If anyone has anything that they would like to address, it's not on the agenda. Seeing none. We will move on to staff reports. Bob, glad to see you here this morning.
I'm so happy to be here.
You noticed he took the donuts away when you walked in.
Yeah,
Yeah, he wasn't gonna trust you with them.
saw that. That was cruel.
Yeah, you had your chance.
Well, don't have a whole lot to report other than we're just about to get our final electrical inspection on the new tank. All the work has been done. And after we get that done, then calibration needs to happen. And from just some casual observation, I think we're pretty close on the calibration. If it's off a little bit, just takes a phone call to QT Pod to get them to tweak the pulsar for the machine to work properly, but I don't think that's going to be a big deal. In April, we saw our fuel sales pick up just a bit. We sold 343 gallons for revenue of $2,144.99. What we have remaining, I'm not sure, because it is split right now between the old tank and the new tank. And we haven't had the new tank calibrated, so I don't know if that Morrison gauge is correct or not. We got the crack seal coming up sometime apparently this month. I'm not sure exactly the date yet, but Armstrong is supposed to contact me and let me know so we can get the notice the airman issued. One interesting thing, a couple of days ago, we had a Chinook flying to the airport in the middle of the night because they couldn't make it back to Fort Carson, so they landed and wanted to know if we had Jet A. They called me at 10:30 at night and wanted to know what our landing fees were and what tie down fees were, and wanted to know about the courtesy car, and they did take the courtesy car, came in and ate down at Bob McDonald's place, and they stayed till about 10 o'clock in the morning the next morning, and then they left. So apparently they did eat at a local restaurant and stayed overnight. So that's
They
about
didn't
it.
get any fuel.
What they need jet
Yeah. So I wonder why
for
they
the
just
snow.
didn't go on.
They couldn't make it back over the mountain because of the weather.
Wasn't for fuel shortage.
Yeah, no, it
Oh, okay.
wasn't.
Sorry, I thought you said when they called, asked about Jet A, that's why they couldn't.
No,
They wanted to put some in if we had it.
they wanted to put some in, but we don't have any, so.
Tell them we're working on that.
Yes, I did. I said, check with us in a little while. But other than that,
So give them the factoid on the calibration. How close you can get it. Because
oh, well, the last time when we had a calibration done on the old tank, we got within a quarter of a teaspoon per 100 gallons pumped. So we got pretty close. And I think on the new one, we may get even closer.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good, I think. And oh, by the way, it was in the customer's favor, not in our favor.
You guys are losing a quarter of a teaspoon every time.
Yeah. I don't know how to
300
charge
gallons.
for that.
You're welcome.
Anyway, that's about it.
I have a couple questions. I need a receipt or an invoice from the AWAS antenna repair. We got the company on that, but there was McDonald got another, they repaired it, and I need that invoice from Bob. So okay, if you give him a call, so I can submit both of them and get reimbursed for both, and we haven't paid that either, so that's one. And the IT, this is for us now, because Brian's been on this, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. They are, Vernon has promised to set up for the meetings, set up the computer out there so they can Zoom things, because we have people that are coming and going there on the board out there. So Vernon's supposed to be doing that as
For a
well.
telephone.
Polycom.
Yeah.
And they also need computers for the board was the other thing that they were looking to get. Let's see, let me read how he says it here.
Well,
Admin computer for the airport admin.
yeah, we've got
a new one.
we've got a computer for the airport manager.
Mhm.
The secretary needs
Yeah.
a computer, and we have one, but it is so old And they can't get it upgraded enough to be used for her purposes.
So they were, they're just, apparently, they're waiting on a model number to perform whatever the requirements are. I don't know what that means.
Well, she was supposed to get with the IT folks to let them know what her requirements were.
Okay.
So that she could mail minutes and so on and so forth, not only to the board members, but to the county.
Right.
And get stuff posted in a timely manner.
I think, is there anything else that you need, Bob? Nope. That's all I had. This,
So we don't have a projected date with this new fuel tank coming on yet.
No, all the electrical, like I said, has been completed. We finally got the emergency shut-off switch working. It was wired to be 110 and the motor's 220, so we had to get that fixed. But other than that, it is ready for final inspection, and I know it's been called in. I just haven't heard of when it was going to happen, and as soon as that happens, we'll call the state and get them to come out and calibrate the make sure we're selling what we're saying we're selling. And
Certified.
once that's done, then it will be ready to go.
Do you think that'll happen this summer?
Oh, it'll happen better. I would hope that it would happen this month, sometime this month. Then the only thing we have to do is call QT-Pod, the guys that own the machine that registers how much we sold, and get them to change the screen so that it shows the new tank instead of the old tank.
and the other issue that you, since you brought it up, is the old tank. So what are we gonna do with it? They gotta pump fuel until it's empty, and then what?
What we're gonna do is pump the old tank into the new tank and go ahead and get the old tank decommissioned and sold. And that'll go through Caitlin at CDOT.
And we're gonna move it out of the way. during
Yes,
that
it
time,
is
so-
gonna be moved. The wall's gonna be taken down and we'll use that pad probably to park the courtesy cars on. The existing pad that's currently there.
Good idea.
What's the big plan with this fuel farm if it's installed out there on the ramp? Gonna move the big tank, the new tank over
Yeah.
to it?
Yeah, and it's just a matter of getting a crane to pick it up and move it out there and set it down.
And then you'd have to get electrical inspection on that again, moving the wires and all.
Oh, yeah, after that's all done, but
That could be down the road.
yeah, that's probably gonna be down the road. I wouldn't expect it anytime.
And a Jet A tank would be a separate tank,
Yes, it'll have to be a separate tank,
because this is all one.
yeah,
This new one.
which there's new problems with Jet A because everything's gotta be separate. All your gauges, buckets, everything's gotta be absolutely separate because
Right.
it'd be a total disaster if somebody puts the wrong fuel. So,
And the last word I got from Armstrong is, they've got options they're gonna be bringing you guys to take a look at, fitting into the budget we have from the state for that new tank and ramp, work that's gonna have to be done, so. That'll be in the next, 2 weeks or so, she said that. I've got some things to come and talk to you.
well, I don't even know if Brian will be back.
I told her that he won't be back until the end of
He'll
May,
be,
I think
he'll
he
be
said.
back on the 19th.
May.
May.
Oh, okay, I thought it was
Yes.
closer than.
No, yeah, he said he'll be ready to go on the 20th.
Good.
And that's it.
Very good. Well, thank you for coming here. I appreciate that.
Take it, don't nobody.
ought to come.
Yeah, somebody ought to be here. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
See you tomorrow.
Take a donny. There's a paper plate. I'd give it to your wife. We've got donuts at the house.
Oh, okay. She doesn't need any more.
Yeah,
See you, Bob.
See you, Bob.
Okay, our next would be landfill. There's no one here for that, but we did get their report. I don't know if you gentlemen have had a chance to look at that or not.
yep.
Like our trench is about full.
Yeah, I talked to Brian yesterday and he said he would not be able to be here today. Yeah, he estimates in another month on that trench and, so he's trying to get the CQA done on the village trench. It was dug,
On H,
which I think he mentioned that in his,
yeah. And I was noticing going through the numbers, you can tell we've got people moving in with the summer here. The
Picking up in it.
numbers are going up. So. Yeah, I don't see anything I would have any questions on.
no, do I.
Recycling, I guess you could speak to that as well, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Tim sent us a summary of what's been going on out there. We do have a mixed load of aluminum and steel that's ready to go to Pueblo, so it's just a matter of getting that scheduled up.
So is, NOCO, are they sending a truck or?
No, we'll haul it to them.
Okay.
We got 60 cents a pound for the last delivery down there, and I see it's down to 35 cents a pound now.
Not good, huh?
No, not real good. We've got 5 bales of aluminum and 5 bales of steel that are ready to go, so they make arrangements to get that delivered mostly, so we can just get it out of the way when we get ready to move those storage containers. Cardboard board. We don't have to handle everything twice.
So what are we hauling that with? Are we making,
I'll borrow a trailer from a friend of mine like I did last month.
because we got 5 bills.
5 steel and 5 aluminum.
Mhm.
I looked yesterday.
And he still is 3.13. Is that total for the 5 bills? 3 tons?
3.13,
I'm not tracking with this, sir. I may be
top of the
wrong
page, on the second page.
Yeah, it's page 2 top.
You're asking about the,
I was
The weight.
looking at the weight
oh,
for the column steel and the aluminum together.
yeah,
Make sure that you weren't.
overloaded, yeah.
Has a-
18,000 pound axle on that trailer.
Okay.
Would be all right.
Gonna have to find a trailer, right?
Yeah, we've written a grant for one. Which he mentions, he didn't say what it was for, other than
He said
equipment.
he had a grant.
uh,
Oh, it says equipment,
Equipment and supplies, I think he. Or just equipment.
doesn't even say that.
So that,
Installer.
that included a flatbed trailer, bumper pull trailer. So we'll see, he did get his grant in for the rebate. I'm not sure about the dollar figure, what that would be, but. We have to market at least 3 recyclables to be eligible for that rebate, so,
Is that Rio grant?
no.
He's talking there, it says he's got 30,000 in funding for recycling equipment purchase.
Right, that's
Is that
our
part of
real
it?
grant that I wrote, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Jeff,
But that's not for the trailer.
Joey and I wrote, that would include the trailer, yeah.
Oh, it does there, okay.
The rebate grant is the grant that he just submitted. To request a rebate from CDPHE, because we're selling at least 3 recyclables. Some talk about plastic recycling, in the infancy of that whole conversation, so I don't know how that's gonna go, but I think things are going good. The board has decided to meet monthly now, at least for the rest of this year. They were quarterly, but there's too much going on to meet once every 3 months, so they've changed that. Other than that, I think everything in there is pretty self-explanatory.
Okay.
That looks good.
And Brian, sorry, Tim Harmon was unable to be here. I talked to him yesterday and he said he would be here, but he got sick overnight, so he didn't think he better risk coming in and causing problems with everybody else, so.
Right. So I suppose if we could get a hold of Laura and have her come in. Thank you.
Hey, Lauren, they're ready. Okay. Okay, I'll ask the treasurer. All right, thanks, bye-bye. We had an appointment at 9:30 and they just showed up, so I'm calling.
Okay.
Can you come? Thanks.
Kelly, when is your next doctor's appointment?
25th.
I just trying to figure out what day to reschedule something for us.
Oh.
Sorry. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Virginia.
I couldn't help myself, Kelly. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not putting smudges on that one.
Anything?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll pretend I'm Jay Prince. Anything new?
No, are there any anomalies?
Anomalies, is there any?
Didn't do it
No,
right.
that's right, you gotta get the right word.
No, well, we have airports short. But Braden, I told Braden about that and he's gonna fix it. And then he
Yeah.
told you about the
Okay,
self-insurance problem, so. See what we can do about that.
And the traffic fines. Are those through the court to you?
Well, they're tickets, not from the court, the tickets that are given to us. They're supposed to pay it within 20 days. If they don't, then we take it over to court. But if they paid in our office in that 20 days, it's vast, GT, genetic testing, family and brain is what we collect. And if there's a fine going through a school zone, speeding or construction, then there's seize off that we collect for, which is doubles the fine. So all of those that we collect, we're going to, whatever we collect on VAS, we have to send to a certain place a check. Same thing with the brain and the fam and the genetic testing. So it's all. And then we also collect for MTC, which is model traffic code. But that we don't, that just automatically goes through the fund.
Yeah, that passed through. So I was looking here, if the sheriff reports that they've collected X number of dollars in fines,
That would have been the MTC.
traffic, is morning traffic code.
Yeah, on a 186.50, MTC is 135,
And does that all show up? in the
And here,
traffic
no,
code?
it won't, well.
Says
Yes,
traffic fines.
but
What is that?
it's not, I can show you a report. You want me to go get one? I have one, I'm
No.
getting ready
I
to.
just never have asked you about all
Yeah.
this, so. I think the sheriff, if I remember right, I was looking for it, I couldn't find it. I thought their budget showed like $19,000 in revenue from traffic fines for this year.
Well, it would not only be from my office, it would be from other places, because they collect them, I think, in court. If they're not paid in my office in that 20 days, I take the ticket over to court, so they'll get some of that.
And
And then we get it in the long way around through the state, they send us a check.
Once it goes to the court, they don't come back right back over here.
So Virginia, what is this traffic fine? There's a balance that just keeps carrying a 790 and then.
Then it goes up because we've been
Because-
taking monies on it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
so is it what's different about that and what the sheriff?
somebody come in. Well, I don't, this is not the whole story. This is
I know,
just
that's
what
why
I
I'm asking what
collected.
part of the story is it?
It's just what I collect in my office. That's all it
I'll be
is.
darned. So it's a pass through then to,
Well, we have to, like I
Put it in
said, we have to give the monies to the DAS, the
Mhm.
brain,
Mhm.
and all of those. We collect for other entities on that ticket,
I see.
and that's by statute.
Thank you.
Getting ready to send out some to that now.
Good. I move we accept just for drill, Virginia's report for the month.
1 second.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor to accept the monthly treasurer's report for March of 2023. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries.
For that impromptu time,
Well, no problem.
we're really running easy here. Yes,
Thanks, Virginia.
Come over.
Yeah, and I believe that since Gloria is backed up, I guess if she could just give us a holler when she's done and
She
ready,
said
we can.
that she will,
Okay. So I think you gentlemen are agreeable. We'll just go ahead and move on to our new business
Yes.
and then pick that up when she's available. Guess you're good with it, Bill?
yeah, I'm good with it. It's what time is see, it's supposed to be 10:30. I'm just wondering if anybody that's dialing is gonna be thinking they can dial in at 11 and catch us. Or 10, whatever, public wide.
I give a lot, I sent everybody that's an employee. A heads up that we were gonna be ahead of schedule. I'm not sure if there were any public that they would need one, I mean. did you-
So I don't know, it's just a question, they look at the schedule and it says. Then they'll guess what time to take a look if they care about the well at the landfill. I'm good with continuing.
All right, yeah, I think everything's a general
Yeah.
time frame on these, I think, anyway, so. So we'll move on to the new business, consideration of installing a new well at the landfill.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I asked for that to be put on. I could certainly start with a motion, but if we want to have a little discussion first, I'm okay with that too. Your choice.
What's make the motion? Is this a different motion than just accept to do it or what?
No, that would be the motion. We'll see, and we can have a little discussion if you're all right with that.
Go ahead and do your motion, we'll discuss it on,
All right.
after the motion, I guess.
Yeah, I would move that we authorize Brian Lockhart to contract as soon as possible with the well driller. Get a new well drilled at landfill.
I'll second.
So do you have a motion on the floor to authorize Brian at the landfill to move forward with installing a new well at the landfill? Discussion.
Yeah, one, this is a budgeted item. We talked about it for 2 years, and haven't done anything, so I think we're getting down to kind of a critical point. And obviously, I know you guys know this, the reason we need a new well is because the existing water well is in the area landfill. So it will have to be abandoned. Probably we will not cap that. Brian's thought was most likely that CDPHE is going to use that as a monitoring well. Might as well leave it. I don't know what the static level of water is in that well, but we're going to have to drill one and relocate it as we move forward with the area landfill. So
From a monitoring point of view, do they go, is it gonna cover that area, Tom? Would you have to put pipe to go up?
no, I
Build around
think
it, or is it out of the way enough?
it's up on the slope high
think
enough
it
that
is.
we could use it as a monitor.
That's what I thought it
But
looked
not
like.
as a freshwater well. And my concern is that I've talked to several individuals, they're anywhere from 10, 12 months to 2 years out on just getting a well drilled. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday who's contracted with a well driller on a private deal. Just, I wanted to get an idea of what the lead time and stuff was for him. He said that he requested to get on the schedule 14 months ago for his well, and the guy said it'd be another 10, 12 months.
Know who that was?
I don't know.
Not Arkansas Valley,
There was somebody down there. So he ended up contracting with a driller out of Walsenburg, and Brian asked me what I thought it would cost these days to get a well drilled. I said, I don't know, but I'll look into it. So a friend of mine told me that the well driller he is contracted with, supposed to drill his well next month, was $7,000 for the first 100 feet. This is on the west side of the valley, southwest. And then $50 a foot beyond that until they hit water, if they don't hit water within 100 feet. That's the only price that I've been able to flesh out.
So that's $70 a foot initially.
Yeah, so over there on the east side, different rock formations, I don't know. Probably, I wouldn't think over there they'd have to go more than 100 feet, but who knows? I don't remember what we budgeted for that. I think that was wrapped into part of the landfill expansion, so if I had to guess, I'd say we're probably looking at 12, 14,000, something like that. I don't know, it's just a guess, but I'm assuming they can pull the pump out of the existing well and put it down the new well. Wouldn't know why not, it's functioning now, so
They know how deep that one is.
I don't.
But they know how, what it drilled.
Yeah, I can
See if it's
do
gonna
some
be deep.
checking. Dorothy may have a record of that well in that. And we'll have to get a new well permit as well. So all that's gonna take time. I just thought we gotta push this forward. We're gonna end up behind the 8 ball on it.
I know I did some calling around the other day on a totally unrelated deal for a well, and you're right, a lot of the drillers are out
Oh,
16, 18 months or better, and
Yeah.
so
yeah, I don't know why we would want to wait when we had budgeted, we planned on it. You know, when we first started talking about the area of landfill, we knew we were gonna have to move that well. So, and then the other thing that will be advantageous to us if we get the well drilled now when we dig in the new electric line, we can tie it to the new office at the recycle center as well. Electric, well, not the electric line, it'll go down to Brian's office, but water line itself, we can tee off and go to that office and probably put in a small pressure tank. Yeah, that's where we're at with that as far as I know.
Any other discussion?
None from me. We need
Anything
to
from
do
the
it.
room
Yeah.
or online?
The only thing I would say or ask you guys, given the fact that well drillers are out as far as they are, I would say, Brian, well, whoever you can get. That'd be fine with me.
Yeah,
Whether we have to go
yeah,
out of
get-
county or not, we can't be 18 months down the
I
road.
think most of the well drillers now are coming from out of the county. Arkansas Valley, they got one guy named Finney, call him Larry Finney.
Yeah, he already did.
Did he call him?
Yeah. And I think Young's is not doing very much at all. And
Yeah, and I don't know about Marquette, but I'm sure Brian has or will contact them all one more time. Whoever he can get, I think he should get, doesn't matter whether from. In my opinion, given the lead time. They'll go, so.
good enough. And I did not see any comments, hands raised online, so none here in the room. Those in favor of authorizing Brian to move forward with getting the new water well drilled at the landfill, signify by saying aye.
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 I
The motion carries.
thank you. And I'll let him know.
Okay, gentlemen, or
You haven't done
Oh, no, thank you.
or
it. You
human.
want to?
Yes, I did, but I can't, you know, I'm sitting here and they smell so good.
Yeah. So Laura is here now, so then with her meeting, we appreciate you.
I'm sorry, I put
Working
some
with-
earlier, but I did have a 9:30 appointment set up.
That's fine.
And you weren't expecting us to be ahead.
No, I was
Never.
not, no, so yes. So, okay. At first, I want to start off and say that we want combat pay in our office because we freeze in the morning because there's no heat, 64 degrees. And then it leaked like crazy in there with this last snow.
So that's two leaks we developed on the two existing leaks.
The two existing
back.
leaks, that one over my supply cabinet, I came in on Friday. And I walked over there and I'm like, what the heck, because the floor is all wet and it's dripping down. So I had stuff on top of it, file folders and stuff, so I moved all that stuff off and I put a trash can underneath there. And from that time to when I left, the trash can was, just one of these, like that blue one,
Mhm.
and it probably had this much water in the bottom of it.
So,
And it finally stopped. I checked the basement to see what was going on, if we had it up there, but the basement, there was nothing going on. Those downspouts that are away from the building or seem to have stopped the leaking in the basement. But yeah, I am glad that was where we had poked those holes. And I'm glad we did. Otherwise, I think that whole panel would have come down because it was so saturated.
yeah,
So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay,
So we do have.
There
that
you
leak and,
Hey.
leak upstairs as well that developed, so.
Yeah, and I know because we had the snow on Wednesday and then it came back in on or Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day that snow came in. And then we had some more on Thursday and it was just still sitting there, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it did leak in there. So
You understand our dilemma.
I understand your dilemma, but I was just letting you know that it's still leaking in there.
I don't think 800,000 put a new roof on this building.
Yeah, I don't know, but I just thought I would mention it. Cause you didn't have nothing else
No.
to be concerned about, leaking.
And your point's well taken from my perspective. I mean, it's ridiculous that an office has to set a trash can on top of filing cabinet, but
Yeah, well,
we've tried to patch and we've tried to seal and.
I know, it just doesn't want to work, so.
Is,
I don't
and
know.
then back to your heat issue, Is there
I gave
someone,
them the up.
Yeah,
is there someone else we might be able to get in here short term?
I think he said he was gonna be back on the tenth.
I think so. I think he's coming back, but I just had to, you know,
So,
I just wanted some callback.
Yeah.
do you need some portable heaters in the short term?
We have one that we plugged in and then we have to be careful because it will,
You don't want it under the dripping water?
no, but it blows if we try,
Breaker.
yeah, it blows the breaker. So we have to be very careful where we plug it in at. Make sure it's not any plugged in into anything that has a computer attached to it. So we got to figure out where we can plug it in, but
Microwave.
yeah, oh yeah, because we had it on the
Plug it
same.
in the back, 'cause it'll.
Yeah, yeah, so we're working that out, but it should be getting warmer, so hopefully by the time that we won't have to worry about the heat so much
You'll
anymore.
have to refund the combat thing.
Oh, I haven't gotten it yet.
I was gonna say that shouldn't be a problem. for you.
We're not gonna get it. We're not gonna get it.
I have this same conversation at home because I'm just fine with it being cooler, but the boss is not.
Yeah,
And she likes to have a little warmer than I do, and I can't fault her for that.
yeah, well, it's 64 degrees. It hovers at 64 when we first come in. And then after a while, it starts coming up. Well, it gets warmer outside and then it comes up. But it's just crazy. So we just wear our coats and
Yeah, it's
sweaters.
frustrating to go in there and see your county employees having to wear a jacket in an office.
But and then if we don't have time to shower, we just go stand by the.
Sit up
You
on
don't
top
know
of
whether to
that.
wear a coat or a raincoat, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Okay. Moving on.
Thanks for coming
Okay.
in today.
Moving on. Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, glad you could make it.
I'm glad you can make it, Just thought I'd mention that,
Mhm.
like we already don't know that we have a leak and all that good stuff that's going on, but. Okay, if you look at the SNAP benefits, you can see that the households are still, we're serving a lot of households, but the amount that we're paying out has gone down. That's because the maximum benefits have gone away. And we actually haven't had as many calls about that as we thought. We received a couple this month and the benefits went away in March. It's taken a while for some people to realize, I guess, I don't know, but we haven't had that many calls. So we're excited about that. And then the next one is our Colorado Works, and it's staying about the same. And our aid to the needy disabled, old age pension, they just kind of stay about the same there. And our LEAP, it's interesting because I like that 8 here. That's not right. That is April. Yes. So in April, we ran a payroll for 8 LEAP. Okay. But they had until the end of April. Actually, they had until May 1st to apply. So you will see more in May. Usually we have 1 or 2 people apply late. We've had 7 people apply. And so, yeah, we're just like, oh my gosh, I think it's because it's been colder longer or something. But yeah, we have been getting, somebody dropped one off at the VSO office the other day that we didn't know it was over there until Vernon brought it over. And we're like, okay. So, but anyhow, then after that, but we'll see some payments in May. And those will be April for people that applied late in the month. But yeah, we had a lot of people apply for leave this year, especially in April. We were amazed at that. Energy outreach. This energy outreach thing is just driving me crazy because I really don't have much money left. But we've used all of our money that we had in Black Hills and they don't have any more. I will have $200 and some left at the end of this month
For the rest of the year, huh?
through till
Fiscal. year.
no September.
Oh,
This one runs
oh,
October.
yeah.
So, but anyhow, but I have my community service block grant. And I received some more money for that, which is great. And so we've been able, if I can't pay with BOCC, I can, if they need a bill or they have a shut off or whatever, we can backfill with a community service block grant. So we've been able to help anybody that was in any type of heating emergency or rent or whatever. So we've been able to do that. So glad we have those 2 grants, that's for sure. And then our TFAB numbers have been down. We only did 17 or 18, 17 in April. But it was not a nice day. And so sometimes when the days aren't nice, we saw more in March, which was the first month when the food benefits were lowered. But then in April, we didn't have that many. But the product that I'm getting is very sparse. I'm not getting a whole lot of food, except they keep wanting to bring me all kinds of produce that I can't use because it just in that short period of time. But and if we try to keep it, it goes to waste. But if we keep it and then we salvage what we can. But
So it's hit and miss. You take whatever they bring you.
they send me out a list. I say this, I'll take all that you have right there, but the list is only this long. So I don't know.
And they do that monthly.
They send me a list every month and then I tell them, yes, I'll take this. And then they just bring produce, just pallets of produce. Yeah, and it's collard greens. Those went bad and I knew they were going to, but there's not anything I can do about it. I don't have storage for that.
And you only service county residents.
Yes, only Custer County residents on that. Yes. So we have to verify what their address is and then we can serve them. That's indeed. Let's see. Well, we're going off.
Do you think the 3 of us could tear up a lot of collard greens, right?
You want?
No.
No.
I won't eat them, sorry. The 2 of you then.
Yeah.
You ever had them, collard greens?
I have.
They're like eating stickers, man. They're just,
I've never had them. To me, they look like spinach,
yeah.
but I've
got
got
a little hairy.
Oh, do they?
I will eat radish stuff.
And it was interesting the way they came. They
Like
came in a,
eating nettles.
yeah, like a plastic open, holes in a bin. And they weren't prepackaged. They were just the collard green leaves in there. And I'm like, what the heck? I just thought, well, anyhow,
That's a southern thing.
and
right?
and they did not keep, and I knew they wouldn't.
Yeah.
We had apples. We got a lot of apples that one time. I had 2.5 boxes of apples and they were in bags. Those kept wonderful. I didn't even refrigerator. I just set them over there. It stays cool in there. And I even had some bags left over that I gave out the next month and they were all still great.
Good.
But yeah, and I've been getting little oranges. Some of those are not good. I give them out and people in their bags so they can sort through them. But stuff like that. But and then I had grapefruit. But if it's a lot, I can't. I just can't take it. So
I have a question for you. It's
okay.
a practical question.
Okay.
We hired Dan Slater as our.
Oh,
county
no, I
clerk.
did not know that. Okay.
Well, we did.
Okay.
And so I want to know how often do you use him? Does he come here regularly once a month, ever? Does he come as needed?
As needed. If we pick up, if we need him to do child welfare or adult protection, we call
Case
him.
by case, and
Case.
sometimes he can do it remote.
Oh, yeah, a lot of times he will just, he'll fill out, we just tell him what we need. If we're gonna have to go to court, he'll just do the paperwork, he emails it to us. Then we file it with the court, or a lot of times he files it to the court. And then, but if we have to have a court date, then he comes up and he goes into court with us.
So we're trying to figure out when we want to see him
Yeah, and that's,
each month, and then maybe there's instead of doing what I thought we could do is saying kind of maybe look at when you need him.
yeah,
But as it sounds like the best thing to do would be let you know if we pick a date when he's coming, and maybe you can.
yeah, oh, yeah,
you can
if
talk
he's,
to him that
and
if
you know,
gonna be
he's
here.
really good. Like the other day when he was here for his interview, he stopped in
That's all I knew.
and said, I just stopping in, see if you guys need anything or whatever. He also does he's our attorney for our trial support. If we have to go to court with that, or there's paperwork, he does that too. But we just contact him. Then he just does it. But
Question.
yeah, but yeah, if he's here, he usually stops in. But yeah, if we know that he's here, well, he'll probably be, I don't know if he's gonna be here for all your meetings or whatever, but. And I don't know if we have a court date, for a date that you have a meeting, he's gonna have to go in with us for that time,
And
whatever.
He
it
would swing
be.
by our office and say,
He could,
you
yeah,
boys got anything for us?
yeah, I mean, and most of the time it's court and they're in there not very long, half hour or something like that, and then we're done. But yeah, no, we'll just keep in touch, but he's been very good. We like him and he
Good.
stays on top of it for us if we need something.
Thanks.
Uh-huh. Okay,
All righty.
I think we're done.
You want my jacket for the rest of the day?
No, it's okay. I have my
Also-
sweater.
I have a Carhartt out there.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
well,
No more complaining.
no, I can't say that.
Okay.
No,
Well, let's at
Looks
least
clear
that's where you
today.
go back to your employees and say, oh, I unloaded on you.
I did. I said I was gonna bring all that up,
right.
because,
Well, then I'm done with it.
it's probably, we're gonna get some type of health issue.
Oh,
From the,
here we go. Yeah.
from the moldy,
MLA.
ceiling tiles. So I'll
Don't
be
let it hit your head.
We could,
filing a lawsuit for that.
maybe we could move you into IT.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they have so much room.
They don't have any leaks.
Oh, well, good. I hope not.
Tell the girl that.
And they've got a heater that they're not even using.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
The,
Right. Jumping back down to our new business, our next item will be the consideration of the Fender. Let me get it out, the Fender Helen Bolt STR, so.
Good morning.
good morning. How are you?
Good. Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning.
Hey, Dorothy,
Morning.
imagine seeing you again.
I know, again, huh? I am bringing to you the recommendation of approval for the Fender Helen Bolt STR. They are taking over the Sun's STR, so it's a current STR that's in operation. They are moving it over into their name they're looking for approval for that. It wasn't a unanimous vote. All 5 voting members of the planning commission did vote yes. A lot of it was the good location. They listened to recommendations that the planning commission made. There were no stipulations put on this, but they did make additions to their house rules based on feedback from the planning commission. But they actually, Seth and Kyle live on the property, which is different than what the Sons, they are actually there all the time, greeting the guests as they come in, making sure that everything's taken care of and that everything, it falls within the rules that they've set forth for their renters. There's a good history of the rentals that have been on the Three Peaks Ranch before. They haven't had any complaints.
So who are our guests back here?
I'm sorry.
Who's our guests back
Yep.
there?
This,
Fender, I don't have one.
I kind of thought so.
Yeah.
sorry about that. I could have introduced them. Sorry. about
They're
that.
actually making a habit of coming in here.
You're talking about them behind your back.
See how I am? But they did make some additions to their house rules for their short-term rentals. They did have on there no flames, but they added bonfires, candles, fireworks, or tiki torches based on the planning commission suggestions. They added no shooting of guns of any type. And then they had on there no illegal activities, and the planning commission suggested that they include, but are not limited to, illegal drugs or lewd behavior. So those were the changes that I noted. They made voluntarily based on feedback. So
And the one rule about no children allowed for this rental, or this property rental. So no kids will be allowed to stay in that SDR.
but they can't rent it, right?
I'm sorry.
I could have children and bring them
No,
with me.
no, we don't allow any
Okay.
children on the property.
Oh, okay.
For the rentals, no, we don't want.
Wedding venue different, but the STR rental
Correct,
specific.
yeah.
Wedding venue, you did.
Wedding is different, yeah.
You're gonna let them come and watch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not can't come and stay.
Yeah, exactly, but for the rental, no, it's just not set up, it's not conducive to children in the area, we have horses and livestock on the property. And we just did, with all the rocks and the wedding venue close by, we just felt that it's best not to have children. And that's how it was before, and we just continue that forward.
And it's just a single bedroom, is that,
It's a single bedroom with a loft, yes.
oh, okay, I didn't see the loft on the drawing here. So how many is that house?
It can sleep up to 6.
Oh, okay,
Typically, it's just 2.
And this application is an abbreviated application because it's already been an SPR, correct?
Correct.
So we don't have the septic permit, the well permit, all that stuff, neighbors, adjoining landowners.
Well, the planning commission has let us know that they don't want all of that information as part of this packet, so we have stopped putting that in. So when Delana or I initial off on it, we've validated that they have that information.
Everything's current.
But that sheet isn't included here.
It's not included, nor have they have asked us not to include it.
The check off sheet.
We check off.
You don't need to include that in the packet.
It's right, it's part of this one. It's on the back side of.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Yeah, we do.
Let me rephrase. I do not have that. As part of it. We have the first page of the
I do not have that
application.
on the
And
digital.
You didn't get the back side of it?
there's the second page there.
My
There's
apologies.
the first page, I'm sorry. So again, I'm assuming that planning commission's approach is that they don't need to see the documentation as long as they see that you've signed off, that the documentation has been provided.
That is correct.
Got it. And this says 4 bedrooms for the septic. That's what it was permitted as. Obviously, you don't have that many bedrooms.
Big thing. Well, I move we accept the recommendation of the planning commission to approve this STR for what do we call it? The Fender and Kyle a humble application. Seth Fender and Kyle Helen.
Second. I do have a motion on the floor to accept the recommendation from the planning commission and they approve the Fender Hellenbolt STR permit. Any further discussion?
So the reflective marker stuff that hasn't been initialed here.
They do have that.
Yeah, you're going to see that.
I think that's also included in their house rule, I think you state that it's up there, it's out at the highway or the road.
And you guys will serve as the managers.
Right.
Not hiring a manager.
Oh, you got that.
Yeah.
Anything further here?
None from me.
No, I'd sooner we were not looking at yourself.
Any public comment? I don't see anything online. Okay. Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 That
Motion carries. Congratulations.
yeah,
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Take a donut.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Thank
Thank you
you.
for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Thank
taking the time.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
We weren't kidding.
Take a donut. Okay, we'll take a donut.
Please.
Please. You haven't had.
Okay, so you're not moving, are you?
No,
Oh my God.
All right.
I can go back there and start over again.
Shake your hand again.
That's all right. You can.
You got
stay.
2 for 1 today. 3 for 1.
3 for 1 today. The next item up would be the consideration of hiring additional staff for the planning and zoning department. You have this.
I have tried there, coming into this position. I was asked when we did our budget, Braden and I, how many people I needed in my department and what to ask for. That's a hard question, being in that position for the little bit of time that I had been in previously. So trying to be a good steward of the county's money, I've tried not to add anybody that we don't need. I believe very strongly that we need at least a part-time temporary person for the summer. It is very, very difficult to run that office during our peak season by yourself. So if one of us is out for any reason, that leaves the other person there by themselves. There are multiple times throughout the day, even now, that I jump up and which I should help Delana with the front desk because we are busy. It has not slowed down, and I anticipate, based on the first 2 days of May, for us to be extremely busy throughout the summer months.
So what you asking for, a half-time, full-time?
I'm asking for, at least right now, to get us through this first year of my tenure, a part-time temporary employee
Through
through
now till when?
till the end of summer, so maybe 3 months. I probably would not get them hired until June. So that would run us through September.
June through September.
I'm trying to, the planning commission mentioned that we needed another full-time person in there. They mentioned that their experience or feedback in the past had been that needed to be 4 people to run that office sufficiently. I'm not in a position right now to say that I need to add a full-time person. I don't want to do that unless I absolutely have
Well, let's
to.
back up the process
Okay.
for a minute. You have the right to hire anybody you want as long as you got the budget. Do you
Okay.
have any budget to pay for somebody for the next 3 months?
I have money that I kept in contract labor. So if it's possible to move the $10,000 that I have in contract labor into salary, then I have the
Okay,
budget.
so let's be into that. So, and I empathize with you. You're performing a service and somebody needs to be in that office. There's times that I went to that office and nobody's there. It'd be nice to be able
Right.
to get questions answered. And I know the contract had several septic, well, a lot of them calling saying, what hours are you open? It's a little confusing because you have been out because you have to for other things that you need to do, sanitary and other things. So it's a valid request, but just wanted to try to get to the specifics. If you really think that's enough or not, then we need to figure out where the money comes from, if it's above.
The $10,000 would get us through summer. For a part-time temporary employee. Am I gonna come back next year and say I need a full-time person? I would like time to evaluate that, to make that decision.
Or a half-time person.
Correct. Correct.
Just a quick question on that, because you said you had 10,000 in your contract labor. Is that what you were drawing out of for your Fridays?
No,
Okay.
No.
You haven't been drawn out of it at all.
I have been, not out of the contract labor.
That's
That
what I
was
mean,
added
yeah.
in what was approved previously for the Friday compliance officer. We've put in salary, so it's part of our salary budget right now.
And
The
you're saying
contract
good.
labor was something that Braden and I talked about when we did the budget, to keep in there just in case we were to need that. When I look at past years, we didn't need that, with the exception of last year because of the change that we had.
Mhm.
So you believe you have 10,000 unspent dollars in the
I
contract?
do. I have a copy of that if you'd like. I think I added.
We don't need that.
Okay.
If your word isn't worth anything, we'll
Okay.
find out. And then you.
Then I'm in trouble.
Then you're in trouble.
If it gets
You just tell us it is, it is.
Yeah, I would support at least, like you say, this seasonal summer help.
Can you train them up in time?
I think we can get them trained in time. I'm hoping we can get, somebody quickly and get them in there and get them started. A lot of what they will be doing is working with Delana up front and offering me some support, but where I can pull Delana to, who knows what I need done, to help me through some things, but during the summer months, we definitely need some help up there. I'll give you an example. The first 2 days in July, we brought in $36,000 in permits. That's a lot.
Not July.
Do you mean
Of
this
May,
July
I'm
or
sorry.
last, or
Did I
last
say
July?
The first 2 days of May. So it's not slowing down. It didn't slow down as much as I had anticipated it through the winter months, and it's already picked up and we're running.
Yeah, it's hard to judge.
Yeah, and I guess I would reiterate what you said, if somebody's out and you have inspections or whatever, then your office is closed and that does present a problem. And if you had someone in there, there's someone to at least answer the phones or take permits or whatever in person. So, yeah, and thank you for answering that question, because I was in, for some reason, my brain was, I was thinking that your Fridays were coming out of that contract.
Yeah, I was
labor,
too. That's
and,
exactly what I was gonna ask.
so I was not aware. So with you pulling that out of your salaries on your Fridays, I didn't see a red flag on that the other day when we did our budget review, so I'm assuming you're staying under budget on your salary line.
Yes, sir. And there's Fridays that we don't work. Last Friday, we did 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
I have it wrote down at my desk, but if we have something going on or we don't have a lot on our plate, we're not
You're not coming in just.
We're
to
not
come in.
coming in just to come in, no.
Okay, that's good. I appreciate that. So.
Yeah, I move we authorize Dorothy to move forward with hiring a part-time, I'll call it seasonal employee. I'm assuming that would be at $17.50 an hour. Of course, that was a full-time commitment that we've made. I don't know about.
It can be whatever you can.
Yeah, I'll strike the dollar amount because that, we had agreed that we would not start a full-time person less than $17.50 an hour, so I don't know about the part-time.
And it may be more or less because it is part-time.
So I'll restate and move to authorize Dorsey to hire a seasonal employee for planning and zoning.
I'll say.
And so I have a motion on the floor to authorize Dorothy to hire a seasonal employee for the planning and zoning department. I had a question for you, but it went away, so I'll ask it later, I guess. I'm to become monies to come out of the contract labor line. So, any further comments or questions?
You know, Dorothy, I just gotta say this publicly. I don't think any of the three of us disregard the need over there. I think we all believe in that 100%. You need to understand that we have come under fire about hiring more people to work for the county. I'm sure we're going to take some grief over this. I'm willing to take that. I believe that you have a need over there for sure. We're asking you to do 3 different jobs, so. And obviously the revenue in your department's significantly increased as well. So it's an easy justification for me. But
It's easy for me too, because you're not changing the budget any.
Right.
We're working with what the citizens expect us to do our job, and we have to provide the service and that's a critical service,
Very much so.
Thank you.
what they pay taxes.
And I don't believe I'll have any comments from the room. And I'm seeing no hands online. So the motion on the floor is to authorize Dorothy to move forward with hiring a seasonal employee for the planning and zoning department, monies to come out of the contract labor line. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Those will be full days. Or.
I
half
think
days.
4 days, 9 to 3. I'm kind
Okay.
of toying around. We're gonna just try the 9 to 3 and see how that works. Cause in the morning, you know, it's not, we don't have a line at the door. Come at 10 o'clock, we probably have a line at the door.
You got room to house an extra person?
We've talked about that. The computer may be an issue. I'll bring my personal laptop in and I don't have a problem with that. We can use that. We've talked about moving some of the stuff that's right by that window as you walk in the door over to a different area, and then that'll open up some room right there. So I think we can make it work.
Be feasible to house Elena and this new employee both on that backside of that desk.
Yeah, I think we can make it work. At first, I was a little questionable, but after we put our heads together and kind of talk through it, I think we'll be fine.
And then, yeah, that was part of my comments earlier, would be cognizant of the hours that this person would be working, so that we didn't hit the 30-hour threshold on that. property.
Yes.
Okay. Next item would be the consideration of purchasing a reliable planning and zoning vehicle.
I am,
Got one rounded up.
no. Give me a budget, I'll go around one up.
What are you asking for exactly now?
Well, I'm asking for a reliable vehicle. I don't want to go out and buy a brand new vehicle. I do have need to have one that has higher clearance. I'll give you an yes, sir. And the Jeep is 4-wheel drive. However, there are times when it's questionable that you're gonna make it to where you're going based on the terrain that we are now going into. And that one of the inspections that I have tomorrow morning is going to take us, we've been told by the homeowner, half an hour to go 1 mile. That last mile into their new home to reach it. So, I mean, that's just one example as to what we're running into. I've had the Jeep in the shop 3 times this year. I'm not convinced that what's wrong with it right now is a vapor leak. Is that what you call it?
Paper lock.
Vapor lock, thank you. I knew I was saying it wrong as it came out of my mouth. And that's just my personal opinion. I need to feel comfortable in what I'm driving out there. And I don't.
And on this one tomorrow, feel free to take that pickup on that.
Yeah, I thought we authorized.
We did.
We did.
Correct.
Yes, you have, and I've been asked to kind of keep driving the Jeep to see if it still has issues. I just, in my little bit of research that I've done about it on a Jeep 2009 Jeep Liberty. Just adding high octane fuel is not gonna fix what I believe is wrong with it. And then depending on where you look up information or who you speak to, high octane fuel may not even be the right thing to be doing if it is vapor locking. So
And I'm the one that asked her to continue to drive that Jeep in places, in situations to where it's not gonna be a safety issue. Just to continue to see what
Symptoms are.
the symptoms are and how it is responding now after the last time it was in the shop, so. So I would say that I'm the one that asked her to continue driving.
And I
it
don't have a
in some of
problem
that.
doing that, Kevin. I didn't bring that up for that purpose.
No, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew I was the one that asked you to do that because I know that you're not comfortable with that vehicle. You know, the situations that you go into. I would look,
Well, there are options to consider. One is OEMs going after a bunch of grants, and there are grants with vehicles, you know. And we could take the vehicle that they currently have, that's getting a new oil pan. It's supposed to make it better, and that's another option for. It's a good truck, just needed. Why they put a plastic oil pan on anything is beyond me. But anyway, that's an option. There are other options too, buy a new one. But we gotta find the money to buy a new one, and that's $80,000.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I'm not asking for a
And a
grand.
used when you're buying somebody else's problems, sometimes you know what you get.
even with a decent used one, we're looking at a pretty good outlay on
Yeah,
it.
like
And
30 grand.
if, that's why, just from my personal view, if we could find some way to make it through this year and see if we ever resolve some issues. I realize there's a ground clearance issue as well with some of the places you're going into, but you know, if we could figure something out until we can move forward.
You know,
and
that's
have
a
something in the
good
budget.
point, because how many of those do you go to a year for that, like that? Not very many, and if there is one, I think we'd have to ask a lawyer question here, but put the liability on the landowner, let them come and haul you up there. Or not have a septic system.
I think there's a lot more than you realize.
Well, maybe,
In my
Well,
experience,
that was an extreme one, when you said
It
it takes
is.
a half
The
a day to get a
example
mile,
is
come on. You don't go
half an
that
hour.
way.
but yeah.
I know you go to a lot of extreme places. I've been there and I put them in too, and people pick the darndest places, side of the mountain to put it on, whatever.
You know, I had 4 brand new tires put on that Jeep. I popped one of the tires. I changed a tire my first time in my life. I knew how to do it. Thank goodness my dad taught me a long time ago, but I'd never had to do it before.
Yeah.
I had to do it in that, and it was a brand new tire.
You
So,
pop a tire on a new truck too. Thing, and so it happens.
well, I would think that a tire on a truck's gonna have a little bit more. I don't know.
Depends
On
on
that
the-
Jeep, it
depends
depends on
on
the
the
rating of
ply,
the tire.
depends.
You can have good tires.
You get belted
on
tires,
that Jeep as
well,
well, so,
yeah.
I think we're bringing in good revenue. And I know that revenue does not go, it goes into general fund or other places, capital outlay.
It goes where the priorities are, and this may be a priority. We have to balance that, but my point is, regardless, you're gonna be at risk doing something, and we
Right.
gotta, and what Kevin has a good idea, we gotta figure out what we've got to get by with. And options to get new vehicles with grants and other things can be part of the thing as well.
A grant is not an option for my department from what
I
I've
didn't say
looked
that. I
at.
said OEM has a
Okay.
grant, they get a new vehicle, we can trade. There's other ways.
depending on if we can move that. If that was the case, because that vehicle was bought on a grant and
Right. Whether
may
that's-
not be able
we can do
to
it.
transfer that to
Right.
state planning and zone.
I think another point that I'd like to make is that. The assessor's office is in the same situation that I am a lot of times. A lot of times we go out together. It would be nice for them to have the option
Sheriff.
to utilize that vehicle when they're in a situation like that as well.
Yeah.
So not only, I'm open to sharing that vehicle. Because of the need of the change in terrain that we're going to.
Yeah, I had a thought. I think using the OEM vehicle would be a little bit of a stretch, but I sure don't think using that public health pickup would be a stretch. Obviously, if it's a sanitarian issue, no question. I think the conversation needs to be had with Dr. Brown about sharing that pickup, brand new pickup, bought it on a grant.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna guess since that pickup hit the county, hasn't had 1,000 miles put on it, it sits over there in the sheriff's lot. I would suggest that either we or the Board of Health have a conversation with Dr. Brown.
That's a good idea. I'll definitely talk to him about that.
Thought of that.
Not opposed to getting you what you need, but again, this is out of budget. I would highly recommend that you include that in your budget next year.
I attempted to this year,
Okay.
but I guess I didn't know enough to
Yeah.
push.
Yeah, well, understood. And I'm not trying to.
One
push
thing to
Stan down
push,
the
it's
road.
another one to have the requirement, and you do. But you just gotta make sure it's clear.
Yeah, I'm not saying we couldn't decide to buy one out of budget cycle. We could make that decision. It would be easier if it was in your budget and your budget got approved by us, then it's kind of a no brainer. Like VSO,
Right.
he got it in his budget and 20 grand, he got a vehicle. I don't want to supersede what Commissioner Day has talked to you about the use of that vehicle. I think if you're not comfortable in that vehicle, I don't know why you wouldn't be using that VSO pickup. Except for what you just said, I'm not disregarding that.
And meanwhile, well, I think Dr. Brown won't have a problem at all. Personally, we'll find out, but and that's a good stopgap until we get one in your budget or not.
And maybe that's a good alternative going forward for all of us to
Should be.
share,
Yeah.
to utilize
For sure, you
things.
want to use everything you can, everybody.
And if he struggles with that idea, then we can take it up as the Board of County Commissioners and decide. We gotta do what's right for the county, and if that vehicle was getting used 3 or 4 days a week, it'd be a different conversation, but I know for a fact it's not.
Especially
Again.
going through the summer and winter time, it's more of a reason. Not so now.
Certainly, if I were the sanitarian and I had to go on a call, that's the vehicle I would be requesting to use.
Yeah, it actually should be used.
Commissioner Canada
You're
can
working
carry
for-
that message forward. I'd say that'd be a great starting
It
place.
is.
And sanitarian, the out systems falls under that. And a lot of these other
Really?
issues where you're ceasing and desisting are sanitation issues as well. So I don't think that would be a problem. If it went for other uses, we'd have to check probably the scope of the grant. On it, but for those, I don't believe that would be an issue at all.
Well, and I would appreciate, Bill, if you could have a conversation with him, and
No, they-
I think that'd be a great solution to an immediate problem, and then look at your budget next year.
Sounds like a plan.
Shouldn't get any more reliable than that dude. Brand new,
better not.
but I understand what Kevin's thinking is on this other vehicle, but I would say as a commissioner, if you're not comfortable driving it, then take that VSO vehicle or see what we come up with the other one.
And I'm
I'm
not,
not opposed to that.
yeah, I can,
I definitely take that VSO vehicle as soon as you can. No reason not to. Just Get, and we can check the tires on and see what belt, how many ply, what we got.
See what the rating is on
See
them.
what the ratings are, because you'll pop a tire on it too.
Yeah,
I'm
your
sure.
10 ply.
So,
It came with 10-ply tires.
Yeah, there you go.
so yeah, and so probably immediate VSO is at your disposal. We probably should have the conversation with public health before you take that one.
Yeah.
And get something set up there and then, so, yeah, Bill can coordinate that.
okay,
I wouldn't be opposed if you wanted to. Instead of going into that sheriff's office every day, just take that VSO and vehicle and park it back over at VSO, or I don't know about parking it right there on the street, but I don't think it's necessary to take it back over there every day. That was kind of a long.
Would
It was just watching
Would
it.
it fit in the garage over here? Or is it too tall?
Yeah, without the Jeep being in there, it'd probably.
So if, what if the Jeep went back over there over the road and bridge,
Good idea.
short term?
Okay.
And then you could have the garage to go and park in like you normally do.
Okay.
And you can use a Jeep whenever you.
Yeah.
Get
If-
shady and take two vehicles.
Reasonable alternatives for
Yeah.
you?
Sure.
So. And then,
Brady's got the keys, or Lisa's got the keys to that pickup.
okay, and then,
Take a donut with you.
I'm trying to watch.
You're
what
trying
I-
to watch it
and
anyway.
then argue your point harder from budget season again.
I've learned.
Or, and that doesn't say don't keep your eyes open for something that might fit your criteria, and if something becomes available, bring it up.
Okay.
And, because there's nothing that says we can't revisit this.
A shot at this.
Okay. All righty, thank you. Hang in there.
Yes, have a good day.
You batted 500 a day anyway.
Thanks, Dorothy.
Yep. Thanks.
I'll be talking.
Good. Sounds good. Have a
Thanks.
good day.
So now we do have another item of business. What did we move?
Okay,
Yes,
okay. Consider scheduling.
the BOCC.
I went
meeting
ahead
schedule.
and, it's in your packet, but I went ahead and made copies just because I think.
I had it
it'd
up
be
on my
easier.
computer screen and then I was trying to figure out what we were gonna do.
You have to look at it.
What's this?
I believe this. This is board terms.
These are board terms.
I'll give it back to you later.
You know what? It's the second thing that goes, but I can't remember the first.
Sorry, you can tell what I was working on.
So we're
That's what
gonna,
we have here is,
what are we doing? Talking about when to schedule a meeting?
yeah, so,
Okay,
And it's in your packet.
And we have it, yeah.
yeah, we have that, so,
We need to print it out.
Okay.
but I, just while you're pulling it up, I texted Buck Wenzel. And I asked him when he had Slater coming up, Dan Slater coming to their meetings to see if we had something coming. So Buck replied, he says the first Tuesday of every month at 5 p.m. except for July, which is the second Tuesday due to Independence Day. And he said he assured us that our meetings late evening, in the evening, that his contract with the county would not interfere with his obligation to them. So that's a deconfliction. It's good to know.
mhm.
And if he's coming up on those days, there might be a reason to have him stay if it happens to be on time. I don't know what the first Tuesday, sometimes we meet on Tuesday, sometimes we
Well,
don't.
we always meet on the first Tuesday and Wednesday of the month. so
If we can
start
do
to-
that, yeah.
Yeah,
If he would.
but whether he'd want to stick around all the way
Well,
along. is-
But see, that's why I asked Laura, and Laura can swing in there and
Yeah.
who knows? But that would be up to Dan to decide if he wanted to go
Are
back.
we up for discussion on this? Good to go or not?
I think so, yeah, yeah.
So here's a thought. Given this information, he's coming up here the first Tuesday of the month.
Every month.
I look at Miss Kelly. What about moving that first Tuesday? Quote unquote staff meeting in the afternoon?
Later in the day, and it would help. There's no reason we have to meet at
It's
9.
not carved in stone, we have
Yeah.
to meet at 9, what if we met at 2? I'm just throwing that out, like from 2 to 4, 2 to 4:30, and then Dan could attend that meeting potentially, and then go from here.
It'd actually
to-
probably be better even from a public moment.
I just, my dad always said a grave is nothing more than a rut with both ends kicked out of it. We get so ingrained in what we're doing, we get the blinders.
I think
on,
that's
we
the
don't
only way
think
you do
about
business,
things.
you know,
Yeah,
do things.
yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to having an afternoon meeting, at least to try it. Just a suggestion.
And we could do that starting when, that would be the discussion.
Jury. Originally, I thought it would make sense for us to probably have him come at our mid-month meeting. But we could intentionally load that first Tuesday meeting with stuff that we thought we were gonna need
Which is
to
what
turn stuff
we
on.
should
We
do.
can manage that,
Yeah.
right?
We could change some staff reports.
And you'd have to do that
Wednesday
even-
As well, or
yeah.
something,
And you'd have to do
so that
that.
we didn't
That's
have
right.
3 hours of staff reports or something.
Yeah, if we were gonna have
Or
a
we could
big
start
month,
at
we'd
one.
still manage the agenda to get stuff on
Right.
there. Hopefully that,
I think it's a great idea.
what do you think, Kel? What's your afternoons versus mornings?
That would be fine with me, and the only thing I was thinking about is if we have one of our 8-hour meetings, that wouldn't work, but yeah.
It would
Jennifer
limit the
just
8-hour
have
meeting,
to-
so.
Jennifer would just have to say, no, sorry, schedule's full that day, you gotta go here.
Right, again, managing that agenda.
Right, because look what happened this week. We had 2 items on the day before and we had, so we can manage that 2-day meeting period. I think.
Maybe we should start having all of them in the afternoon, and then we have to.
Then we would, that's what I was thinking too.
Hint, hint.
And that's why that mid-month one wouldn't necessarily help much because it's just getting him half distance. And
Well, the mid-month. Is totally a new business agenda.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was.
I wouldn't be
what I
opposed to
originally
having him at.
Yeah.
Let's say say that first Tuesday and for the mid-month.
Yeah, you came in the middle of this conversation. Bill had just discovered that Slater comes up on the first Tuesday of the month for Silver Cliff. Obviously, you know that because you're on that board. We didn't know that. And I thought, well, God, that'd be perfect if we could have our meeting in the afternoon on the first Tuesday. And he'd have an hour or so to go get lunch or dinner or whatever, and then go to your meeting. Might be a more efficient use of his travel time.
be cheaper for
Yeah.
both us and the town.
He may say, I've got all I can deal with preparing for Silver Cliff. I don't know. I have no idea what that looks like, but. And to your point, Kevin, I would like us to consider picking one day a month and then as needed, if something comes up
Right.
in the mid-month, then we call it.
Absolutely.
But if we could regularly schedule one meeting,
I think that's an
then he
excellent idea.
kind of stay on task about what's going on. The other thing we could do is load Wednesday up with a couple more staff reports.
That's what I meant. We
That
can
was
control the staff.
kind of what I was,
And
let me
Cut
throw
back
this
on
out
staff
then, if we,
No reason.
is there any reason we couldn't do staff reports on Wednesday and have Tuesday as a business meeting?
Sure.
yeah, we might want to start a little earlier, like at 1 on Tuesday.
What I would do.
And then, I mean, we've done those staff reports all on one day. We know what that's like, right? It's gonna take 4 hours probably,
So if we
which
could
is okay.
if we
with
could-
me.
make sure that, staff reports need to be concise.
Sure. And if they don't have anything to do, I mean, the report written is fine if they don't.
Yeah,
I've been doing some research, if I may. I've been seeing other counties and the way that they've handled their staff reports. And I'm just throwing this out as an idea, something for y'all to discuss. But some of the other counties put all of the staff reports in a workshop. And then they don't have any new business that, no business that they consider, but all of the staff.
which is
That's in fact what we're doing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
All we're doing is.
make the Wednesday
Staff report.
just for staff reports. Tuesday would be the business day. And then that would leave our mid-month and month end as needed.
And it doesn't say we can't have a business item on a.
Yeah, if we
staff
had to
report.
add
If
it.
we had to, that's, we can just put it on. As long as it's 24 hours
Yeah,
before.
it comes back to managing it. If we have to
Yeah.
put one on Wednesday,
We
then
will.
deal with it. But
Sure.
But as a rule,
Try to keep it as a staff report.
what are your thoughts on that? Or from your point of view?
That was actually something I was gonna ask is, one, the efficiency or the more likely the effectiveness of staff reports. And if that's something that should continue the way that it is, so I'm glad Jennifer looked that up. Because I wonder when we talk about the point of contacts again, if maybe there's some more offline things that could be happening. That could
Before
free
it
up
does.
time to not, maybe not even have staff reports. Or it's just here's, I met with finance and HR, and I think there's certain ones that make sense to bring more public to before the county. But it might be, hey, I met with VSO. He's got this going on right now and just wanted to let you guys know.
Exactly right.
Yeah, and we kind of did that even this morning. We had a pretty good report from Tim. He does a great job with that, and point of contact can add some color to that or additional
Sure.
information, and maybe they don't need to come in.
That's exactly right.
And it's pretty obvious that we hardly ever have everybody here to give a staff report.
Usually.
Absenteeism is pretty high on staff reports. Airport does a great job. BSO always did, of course, Laura does, but maybe we would require them to submit a written report by a
Should
certain
always do
date.
that.
And if we have any questions after we see that, then we could ask them to come in. If not, the point of contact could add color to that. I think that's reasonable for it. But I would be pretty adamant about, you guys submit a written report, or they're gonna be held to pay.
Yeah, because right now we're struggling to get the reports submitted.
The day of,
And maybe that,
You know,
those,
Virginia has to be basically. She can't. Usually get it until right now. I guess your report, your financials are month in though, aren't they? So,
yeah, I think, and to Braden's point, I think if we say, okay, these are the ones we want in person here, Braden, in my opinion, being one of those. I think it's reasonable, but I would strongly suggest that we set a drop dead deadline and we have a written report if somebody's gonna be in here and it's not gonna be real pleasant.
okay, so in that light, I move that we move our meeting to 1 o'clock on the first Tuesday of every month. And to be, 1 to 4
Business meeting,
business meeting,
I would say.
and then we'll go with that, and then we can manage.
to
the other
include
stuff.
attendance by the county attorney.
Yeah, for the attendance of the county attorney.
Well,
As
Which may
he
be
can make.
negotiable, see. that's the
Okay,
thing.
so-
It's
to
not-
allow,
Okay.
to allow. County attorney items on that date, that it's not
Right.
making that a
We're
mandatory.
not gonna tell him you have to be here, because he may not be able to be,
Right.
just like he does for Silver Cliff, sometimes he doesn't make it.
But if we tell him that's why we moved that meeting to make it more
Sure.
efficient for
That
him,
way it says efficiency, he can manage his time.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor then to change our first Tuesday of the month meeting to a 1 o'clock in the afternoon meeting, and to be a business meeting, taking the staff reports from that day and moving them to Wednesday.
Wonderful.
Well. Yeah.
We don't know, I'm not gonna add the rest, it's just a separate motion.
Yeah, let's do
Okay,
that stuff.
so move the Tuesday meeting to 1 o'clock
And
in
convert
the
it to a
afternoon.
business meeting,
and convert it
no
to,
staff reports.
Right, no staff reports, strictly
yeah,
a business.
okay. Thought that's what I said, but maybe.
Well.
Well, you were adding,
when we get on the staff
The
report.
staff reports moved to Wednesday, but
So we
we'll.
won't
do
have
that
staff reports,
separately.
but now we'll deal with the lack of staff reports.
Right, we'll manage the staff reports differently.
Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor to move the first of the month Tuesday meeting to a 1 o'clock in the afternoon business meeting. Any further discussion?
Will you follow up with the attorney?
Yes, I will get with Jennifer, because I think he sent that to Jennifer and I put it on here because of that, so we will get him to schedule the new amended schedule and what we would require him to be. So short answer, yes.
Okay. I think it'd be appropriate for the chairman to handle this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will
It
do
is.
that. Those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
and
Motion carries.
I would move that we schedule all of the staff reports on the first Wednesday of the month and have a drop dead deadline of the previous Thursday close of business for those staff to submit those reports
I'll second
to
it.
Jennifer.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor to move all staff reports to the Wednesday meeting with a hard deadline of the previous Thursday to have written reports submitted to the BOCC admin.
COB, close of business Thursday.
Close of business Thursday.
Because I'm confident that by 5 minutes after the close of business, we would have those posted in our board packet. Jennifer will be all over that, and I know she would appreciate that hard deadline as well. This thing of babysitting these people has got to come to an end. That's all there is to it. And we got to convey that somehow. I'm not sure how,
I think we just did.
but I hope.
I think maybe an email sent out
Oh, yeah. If you like. to do that.
from,
How about we discuss this after the
Okay.
meeting, and because you and I had already had some good conversation about that.
And I don't know that we need this in the motion. Are we in discussion?
we are in
Okay.
discussion.
That we inform the staff that if you submit your written report by close of business on the previous Thursday, we wouldn't expect you to be here to give your report. Unless we
Unless they
have
need,
A
unless they
question
have.
or they need a question. Does that
Yeah, it
make
doesn't need to
sense?
be in the
That
motion.
we get away from that automatic, you have to come in. And I would think that would motivate the staff to get their reports in and go, God, if I give them a good report, I don't have to go in there and sit in front of them guys. But I know two people hate coming in here and giving the staff reports. They just aren't comfortable doing it, so. That would, yeah, it's discussion. I don't think it needs to be part of the motion either, but if we can convey that to the staff when we send out that email. Say unless you have a specific need or the commissioners request you to be in person, your written report will suffice. Fair enough?
Yeah, she can
I
say.
like that. I think I would like a note of that though, maybe in our minutes,
Yeah.
just to make sure, because at some point in the future, we would probably have that
Okay.
question.
Why did we say that? Why did we do that?
Great.
And a note for those that you would want to be there regardless
Yes,
as well. Just so they
and
know who
that,
they are.
that may change, could change, right? I mean,
One thing I was appreciating, right, that we're changing here now is that we had just started getting the sheriff to come in on a monthly basis to give us a report.
and I think he would be one that we might request to continue because we're pretty out of the loop with that if he does.
Yeah, because, you know, they're right next door, but they're separated. They're separated by the alley over here. And
I think it'd be good to have him come in. over.
I do too.
I think I would like to continue the sheriff's office. to
Oh,
have
But we can
a report.
put that in.
Yeah, you'd be willing to come in. And I'd say either you or Lisa, depending on what circumstances are.
Yeah, you're lucky. He's got a,
And I would
at
agree.
least
with you.
from
I
an
think
HR.
I would like to see the sheriff continue to do that.
In Virginia, I have to sign hers, hers is a 5 minute. If she, I guess we wouldn't have to have her in if we had it in time to ask her questions, and then we could just move to sign.
Or if there's something came up that we, just nothing to do with their report, that we need them to tell us something.
I was thinking about VSO, same thing.
Go
Yeah.
in there.
If we had that written report, we could act on that without. the
Yeah, we don't need them,
VSO.
it's just a darn sheet that
The other thing I've discovered in my research is the things like the treasurers and the BSO, things that you need to sign. Other counties are doing that through a consent agenda. So theoretically, you could put those things in the Tuesday meeting that need to be consent items. Because if we had them on Thursday, you'd have time to review. And then you could have a motion, and then Wednesday could be a workshop and not have any business. And it would really and truly keep the business on Tuesdays. As a thought.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can do it on the run anyway, on the fly. Cause there'll be a time we're gonna have to ratify something, we can do it on
Well, there's nothing that says we can't leave it as a meeting. On
right, it
Wednesday.
should be a meeting. The workshop still requires the same notification, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
I wouldn't call
absolutely.
it a
I was
workshop.
just throwing out those.
There might be a time when we take action on a report.
That's
As a result
better,
of the
and it's
report.
better to have the darn, a official board of
Right.
directors meeting, not a workshop that we agree we can make a decision in.
I like the approach. Certainly, I think move forward and it can be a work in progress if something blows up and change it again, but
Yeah.
who's gonna be in charge of changing the BOCC meeting schedule? Okay.
did you point to Brady? Or was that over your shoulder more?
Was it me?
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to, in this motion, was it changing the time on Wednesday?
No,
No,
The time on Wednesday was staying AM. Tuesday was moving to 1 PM, if this motion carries.
and I would suggest, then I'm just looking at this BOCC meeting schedule that on that first Tuesday,
I think we're not meeting.
put parentheses and put business meeting. And the first Wednesday parentheses put. staff
Yeah,
report.
Sure. So with that, so. Let's clear up the motion, but, we're going CCI the first, Tuesday of this month, aren't we, or June?
Yeah, we didn't have that meeting scheduled anyway.
That's right, so it's not scheduled. So
Well,
first- So I'm just.
no,
June-
we're gonna have it.
We're scheduled for June 6th and 7th.
Oh, that's right, it was moved.
Yeah.
That's
To the
right,
second.
CCI, we moved it because of CCI.
Right, and in that May 30th meeting, we've tried to control that agenda to get out of here fairly quickly. I think all we were gonna do is pay bills, right? On the 30th, because that's the day we leave for CCI.
Right,
And I posted on the agenda that is posted that this is a limited
so,
meeting.
the only reason I brought it up, when you write the note to Dan,
So when is June?
6 and
6 and
7.
7.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's normal.
so, and I will get
It's
with
not the
Dan.
first Tuesday, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, it is? I thought it was, I thought that,
CCI is on a third.
okay, so it is the first Tuesday, everything's kosher.
I will miss that.
And I will. When Jennifer gets this scheduled, then I will work with her and get the schedule and what we would like to see him at. That first Tuesday meeting. We have moved it to the afternoon. I will we'll send it to him and I will call him and
Good
make
idea.
sure that that works well for him. And
Tell
tell him
him
we
it's
moved
not a
it,
mandatory formation, it's
yeah,
giving him the
but we
opportunity.
moved it to the afternoon so that it would probably work better with his
That's
schedule
right.
and see how that plays out with him.
Yeah, just a quick side note, I was looking at my June calendar. I had set that June 7th meeting to open seal bids. That date's gonna change anyway, because I still haven't got go ahead from CDOT's finance office, so stuff like that. We just
Well, it'd be that
figure
type of
deal.
into the new schedule.
Okay,
Did you vote on that last one?
No, we're still
we're
waiting,
still in discussion,
we keep talking. Let's vote,
that we're on discussion.
And
the rest of this we
to
can
be
just
effective in June, right? We're
Yeah.
gonna start that
One-
schedule first of June,
June,
6th of June.
put it on.
So 1 PM and 9 PM respectively.
We good here at the table.
Make it so.
Anything
Chairman.
from the floor, anything from online, I'm seeing none. Those in favor of moving the first Tuesday of the month meeting to a 1 p.m. business meeting. Oh, that, we already voted on that one. We are now,
On the,
those in
Wed-
favor of moving all staff reports to Wednesday. With a hard deadline of submitting the written reports the Thursday prior.
Close of business.
Close of business the previous Thursday. Thank you. I keep dropping that. Signify by saying aye.
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 That motion carries as well.
And you know, I could anticipate us still getting done with all the staff reports with this new format in 2 or 3 hours.
That's true, and that'd be great.
Just like that recycle thing, it didn't take 5 minutes.
That's right.
So,
I think it's a good plan.
okay. Anything else, gentlemen?
None for me.
No, sir.
Okay, public comment. If anyone has anything they would like to address at this time, feel free to raise your hand or speak up here in the room.
You're good, B.
Yeah, I think that's a really good move.
Okay. And conference call 22nd, 21st. You got that all sorted out. Brady yesterday. I can look it up, sorry.
And Bill, you got my email? on
Yep.
that?
I'm good.
Okay, so you have the 23rd,
Third,
2 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock.
Well,
They just asked yesterday to include me on.
have you confirmed that with Dan later?
I have not, but I will today.
okay. Hearing no public comment, I will adjourn this meeting at 10:57 a.m.
Amen.